The malhamah al-kubra is mentioned in the following hadith. The Prophet said, malhamah al-kubra, the greatest war, the conquest of Constantinople and the coming forth of the Dajjal, Antichrist, will take place within a period of 7 months. The Prophet said, the time between the Great War and the conquest of the city, Constantinople, will be 6 years, and the Dajjal, Antichrist, will come forth in the 7th. The exact time and details of this great battle is unknown. However, from different ahadith, it can be understood that the battle will take place between the Muslims and the Christians. The battle will be fought in a large number and extremely intense, in which large number of Muslims will be martyred. Abu Hurairah reported Allah's Messenger saying, the last hour would not come until the Romans would land at Al-A'maq or in Dabiq, an army consisting of the best soldiers of the people of the earth at the time will come from Medina to counteract them. And when they will arrange themselves in ranks, the Romans would say, do not stand between us and those Muslims who took prisoners from amongst us. Let us fight with them. And the Muslims would say, nay, by Allah, we would never get aside from you and from our brethren that you may fight them. They will then fight, and a third part of the army would run away, whom Allah will never forgive. A third part of the army, which would be constituted of excellent martyrs in Allah's eye, would be killed. And the third, who would never be put to trial, would win, and they would be conquerors of Constantinople. And as they would be busy in distributing the spoils of war amongst themselves, after hanging their swords by the olive trees, Satan would cry, the Dajjal has taken your place among your family. They would then come out, but it would be of no avail. And when they would come to Syria, he would come out while they would be still preparing themselves for battle, drawing up the ranks. Certainly, the time of prayer shall come, and then Isa, Jesus, peace be upon him, son of Mary, would descend and would lead them in prayer. When the enemy of Allah would see him, it would disappear just as the sword dissolves itself in water, and if he, Isa, were not to confront them at all, even then it would dissolve completely. But Allah would kill them by his hand, and he would show them their blood on his lands. In another hadith, once there blew a red storm in Kufa, that there came a person who had nothing to say but these words, Abu Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the last hour has come. He, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, was sitting reclining against something, and he said, the last hour would not come until the people divide inheritance and rejoice over booty. And they said, pointing towards Syria with the gesture of his hand like this, the enemy shall muster strength against Muslims, and the Muslims will muster strength against them, Syrians. I said, you mean Rome? And he said, yes. And there would be a terrible fight, and the Muslims would prepare a detachment for fighting unto death, which would not return but victorious. They will fight until night will intervene them. Both the sides will return without being victorious, and both will be wiped out. The Muslims will again prepare detachment for fighting unto death, so that they may not return but victorious. When it would be the 4th day, a new detachment out of the remnant of the Muslims would be prepared, and Allah will decree that the enemy should be routed. And they would fight such a fight, the like of which would not be seen, so much so that even if a bird were to pass their flanks, it would fall down dead before reaching the end of them. There would be such a large-scale massacre that when counting would be done, only 1 out of 100 men related to one another would be found alive. So what can be the joy at the spoils of such war, and what inheritance would be divided? They would be in this very state that would hear of a calamity more horrible than this, and a cry would reach them that Dajjal has taken your place among your offspring. They will therefore throw away what would be in their hands and go forward, sending 10 horse as a scouting party. Allah's Messenger say, I know their names and the names of their forefathers and the color of their horses. They will be best horsemen of the surface on the surface of the earth on that day, or amongst the best horsemen on the surface of the earth on that day. It must be noted that many of the signs of Qiyamah are present, and the Muslims are facing difficulties all over the world. However, rather than exerting our efforts in identifying these signs, we maximize our efforts in ibadat, dua, and preparing for the hereafter. A Bedouin asked the Prophet ﷺ about the hour, the Qiyamah. He said, it will surely come to pass. What have you prepared for it? Thank you very much.